blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Michelle, and for the next hour I will be reading from the February 1st issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cover story: Will Grammys go gaga? Abracadabra could give the pop icon her due, by Bruce Miller. Beyoncé waited years to win the Album of the Year Grammy. Last year it happened. Could the same fate befall Lady Gaga? She hasn't won one of the big four awards, album, record, single, and new artist, but could come through this year. Her biggest competition for the album prize is Bad Bunny, could be a beneficiary of the Academy's invitation to Latin Grammy voters. They're now in the fold and could spell denial for Gaga. Another story to watch: how Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo fare. Snubbed by Oscar voters, they're in the hunt for a Grammy for their Defying Gravity duet. This could give them some redemption and scare the K-pop demon hunter folks. Business as usual? If surprises are usual, then yes. But Sunday's Grammy Awards promise to be a night of tears and trends. By category, here's who's likely to win. Album of the Year, Lady Gaga. Song of the Year, Gaga figures in here as well, but Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters is on a roll. Record of the Year, this could be Gaga's too, if she has a threat. It's Sabrina Carpenter. New Artist, Olivia Dean. She only has one nomination and she's huge. Pop Duo Group, here's where things get fun. The Wicked duet goes head-to-head with Demon Hunters and could settle some scores. Pop Album, Lady Gaga, Mayhem. Carpenter could win this one, but if Gaga's going to have a night, here's a good way to rack up an armful of trophies. Traditional pop album, Gaga's here too, but she'll have a hard time pulling it away from Brandi Carlile and Elton John or Lawfully. Pop solo, here's where Sabrina Carpenter, Manchild, gets to come out of Gaga's shadow. Rock album, Deftones, Private Music. R&B album, Leon Thomas's Mutt. Rap album, here's where Kendrick Lamar gets the love for GNX. Country album, Tyler Child would seem like the Grammy choice. Eric Church too. In other categories, musical theater album, usually the Tony winner gets it, which means maybe Happy Ending is the winner. But Buena Vista Social Club could benefit from those new voters. Progressive R&B, alternative album, Hayley Williams, Ego Death at a bachelorette party. Latin pop album, Karol G, Tropicana. Comedy album, Ali Wong, Single Lady. Music video, here's a great place for Sabrina Carpenter, particularly since Beyoncé isn't in the mix. Music film, music by John Williams. It's a great tribute to a big Grammy and Oscar winner. Visual medium compilation, another battle between Wicked and K-pop Demon Hunters. But don't overlook Sinners. Visual medium song, Golden, K-pop Demon Hunters. Oscar pregame. How to watch this year's Academy Award nominated films. Oscar voters have spoken, serving up 16 nominations to Sinners and 13 to One Battle After Another. Ryan Coogler was nominated for Best Director and Best Screenplay for Sinners, a lush vampire tale, and double duty star Michael Jordan was rewarded with his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, and Teyana Taylor took acting accolades for One Battle After Another. Need to catch up on all the nominees? Here's a look at where to find them. One Battle After Another, streaming on HBO Max. Hamnet, in theaters, not available for streaming. The Secret Agent, in theaters, not available for streaming. K-Pop Demon Hunters, streaming on Netflix. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, available for rent and purchase at Prime Video and Apple TV. Sirat, not available for streaming. Begonia, streaming on Peacock. Sentimental Value, available for purchase on Apple TV and elsewhere. Marty Supreme, in theaters, not available for streaming. Train Dreamers, streaming on Netflix. It Was Just an Accident, in theaters, available for rent or purchase on Apple TV and Prime Video. Weapons, streaming on HBO Max, available for rental and purchase on Prime Video. Song Sung Blue, in theaters, also available for rental and purchase on Apple TV and Prime Video. Blue Moon, available for rent and purchase on Prime Video and Apple TV. F1, streaming on Apple TV, available for purchase on Prime Video and Apple TV. Frankenstein, streaming on Netflix. The Stream, what's new this week in television, films, music, and games. Movies. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. If you haven't seen Rose Byrne's Oscar-nominated performance in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Mary Bronstein's psychological drama arrives January 30th on HBO Max. Byrne plays the stressed-out mother of a young, unseen child who's struggling with a mystery illness. In her review, the AP's Jocelyn Novak wrote that the film has given Byrne, an actor of effortless appeal in lighter films, a chance to display versatility and grit in surely the toughest dramatic role of her career. The Wrecking Crew, Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista star in The Wrecking Crew, Prime Video, January 28th, as estranged half-brothers who reunite after their father's mysterious death. The action comedy is directed by Angel Manuel Soto, who made 2023's Blue Beetle. Peter Hujar's Day, Ira Sachs, Peter Hujar's Day, the lead nominee in the Independent Film Spirit Awards, is a marvel of historical yet intimate dramatic resurrection. The film, Criterion Channel, January 27th, is based on a transcript from a 1974 interview by the writer Linda Rosenkrantz, Rebecca Hall, and her friend, the photographer Peter Hujar, played by Ben Whishaw. Rosenkrantz had planned a book about how artists spend their time, but the book never happened, and Sachs, after coming across the transcripts, dramatizes their dialogue. I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not. In I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not, the filmmaker Marina Zanovich profiles the irrepressible Saturday Night Live and Fletch star. For the film, HBO Max, January 31st, Zanovich interviews the complicated and sometimes combative comedian about his career with glimpses of his daily life. Perspectives are offered by Dan Aykroyd, Beverly D'Angelo, Goldie Hawn, Lauren Michaels, Ryan Reynolds, and Martin Short. Video games. Highguard. Highguard is the latest entry in the ever-growing field of multiplayer shooters, offering yet another way to get online with your friends and blow stuff up. Code Vein 2. Bandai Namco's Code Vein from 2019 tried to answer the question, what if you took the demanding combat of Dark Souls and added vampires? The bloodsuckers known here as Reverence are back in Code Vein 2, but a mysterious force is turning them into mindless monstrosities. Series, Bridgerton. Benedict, the second eldest Bridgerton, takes center stage in season 4 of the Netflix series that tells the love stories of a large family in London during the Regency era. Season 4 has Cinderella vibes with Luke Thompson's Benedict looking for an enchanting woman in silver who's actually Sophie, a housemaid, played by Yurin Ha, working for his family. Part 1 drops January 29th, with the remaining episodes arriving in February. Series, Shrinking. The third season of Shrinking checks in January 28th on Apple TV. The series follows Jason Segel as a therapist named Jimmy, a widowed dad to a teenage girl who shares a practice with characters played by Harrison Ford and Jessica Williams. Between Jimmy's colleagues, neighbors, and friends, he forms a new kind of family. Season 3 features guest stars Michael J. Fox, Jeff Daniels, Sherry Cola, Isabella Gomez, and Candice Bergman. School Spirits. School's back in session. School Spirits, starring Peyton List, that is. The Paramount Plus series also returns for a third season on January 28th. List stars as a teen trapped in the afterlife, which happens to be her high school. She's there with other ghosts who also are former students, who help Maddie to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Vanished. Kaylee Cuoco and Sam Claflin star in a new mystery for MGM Plus called Vanished. Cuoco plays a woman whose boyfriend, played by Claflin, goes missing on a train to France. The 4-part limited series premieres February 1st. Music. 2026 Grammy Awards. 'Tis the season. The Grammy Awards season, that is, on February 1st, the 68th annual award show will air live on CBS. Joyce Manor. California pop punk bands Joyce Manor return with their 7th full-length album January 30th. The all too appropriately titled I Used to Be in the Spa, spoken like a gently aging band whose penchant for hooks knows no bounds. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the February 1st issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Things to do. Lady Day returns. John Waters Fest, a Goonies reunion. By Tony Roberto. Legendary jazz vocalist Billie Holiday famously sang one of her last shows in a seedy Philadelphia bar just months before her death in 1959. Playwright Lanny Robertson used that show as the backdrop to tell stories of Holiday's life in Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, a play that doesn't shy away from the singer's struggles with addiction and racism. To do that, Robertson's musical also includes some of Holiday's most iconic songs, such as God Bless the Child and Strange Fruit. It's clearly a show that demands a skilled vocalist, and Music Fair Theatre understood that by casting Alex MacArthur as Holiday when it first staged the musical in 2023. After garnering strong reviews in 2023, it's no surprise that MacArthur, a 4-time winner of Jazz Buffalo's Female Vocalist of the Year, returns in the role for Music Fair. MacArthur is endearing as Billie Holiday, creating a character who struggles to keep a lid on the desperation that boils beneath the surface, wrote Buffalo News contributing reviewer Anthony Chase, who added that her voice drives this performance. Also returning are director Thembi Duncan and musical director and Grammy Award winner George Caldwell. The musical runs through February 15th in Shea Smith Theater, Main Street. More events coming up. Holy Waters, a John Waters Film Fest. through February 5th at the North Park Theater, Hurdle Avenue. If you're going to have a film festival honoring John Waters, you can't go halfway. He never did. So, of course, the North Park is showing his 1981 black comedy/satire, Polyester, the way Waters meant it to be seen and smelled. Original moviegoers received an odorama card to scratch and sniff when prompted on the screen, and so will audiences at the North Park. The 4-film festival is timed to celebrate an appearance by Waters on February 19th in Kleinhans Music Hall. Until then, here's the North Park schedule. Polyester at 7 p.m. through Thursday, except today, Sunday, when it's shown at 6:30. Hairspray from 1988 at 4:30 Monday through Thursday, and 10:30 today, Sunday. Female Trouble from 1974 at 7 p.m. through Thursday, except Sunday night, 6:30. Pink Flamingos, 9 a.m. today. Dancing with the Stars, 7:30 Tuesday at Shays Buffalo Theater. The TV reality show moves from your living room to the Shays stage for this live performance with such popular dancers as Val Chemerievich, Jenna Johnson, and Daniela Kravec. Co-host is actress Danielle Fisher, who starred on the hit 90s sitcom Boy Meets World and as a contestant last year during season 34 of Dancing with the Stars. Other dancers include Alan Bernstein, Brandon Armstrong, Emma Slater, Ezra Sosa, and Haley Mills. The show is choreographed by Emmy winner Mandy Moore. Harlem Globetrotters 100-year tour, 7 p.m. Friday at the KeyBank Center. The Harlem Globetrotters return to Buffalo again this winter, this time to celebrate a century of hilarious on-court antics and impressive athletic feats. Hammer Harrison, Torch George, TNT Lister, Bulldog Mac, and Guinness World Record holder Zeus McClurkin will be here to lead the team against their unlucky rivals, the Washington Generals. Fan-friendly activities start before the game and continue afterward. The Goonies, 40th anniversary, 7 p.m. Saturday at the University at Buffalo Center for the Arts, Main Stage, North Campus, Amherst. Goonies never say die, even after 40 years. Corey Feldman, played by Mouth, Kerry Green, played by Andy. Two of the actors from the 1985 family comedy will be at UBCFA for screening on the film and talk. In the movie, a group of misfit teens set off to find a pirate's treasure after discovering a map. Feldman and Green will share their behind-the-scenes stories and experiences from their time on the set, then answer audience questions. Sheltered opens Thursday at the Jewish Repertory Theater, Benderson Family Building, North Forest Road. Alex Sobler's play takes us back to 1939 to share this true story of an American Jewish couple who traveled into the danger of Nazi Germany at a time where people were fleeing. Their mission was to rescue 40 Jewish children and bring them to safety in the U.S. Kyle Loconti directs, Gretchen DiLeo, Rebecca Elkin, Peter Horn, Maria Pedro, and Adam Yellen. The play continues on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays through March 1st. Just announced. Barry Manilow, 7 p.m., April 22nd, KeyBank Center. Planet K-Pop, the ultimate K-pop tribute concert, 7 p.m., June 14th, Shays Buffalo Theater. Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson with Hugh and Orgy, August 30th, Darien Lake Amphitheater. Zach Brown Band with Brothers Osborne, 7 p.m. November 5th, KeyBank Center. Sheng Wang, 7 p.m. March 14th, Ashbury Hall, Badeville, Delaware Avenue. Quick music calendar. The Art of Jazz with Brandon Woods, 4 p.m. today, Sunday at the AKG Art Museum. Humphreys McGee, 6:30 today, Sunday at the Town Ballroom. Matt McGowan Trio, the music of Herbie Hancock, 7 p.m. Friday, Posa Art House, Wadsworth Street. Gord Downing birthday celebration with the Strictly Hip, 7 p.m. Friday at the Cas, Seneca Street. Allison Pipitone Band, 8 p.m. Saturday at the Gene McCarthy / Old First Ward Brewing, Hamburg Street. West Here Riviera Theater just announced. Burlesque, June 27th. Meatloaf, August 7th. Tickets on sale now for the following Riviera Theater. George Michael Reborn, February 7th. Close to You, the music of the Carpenters, February 13th. The Wizard of Oz on Ice, February 14th. Pearl Jamming, a tribute to Pearl Jam, February 27th. Dr. Dirty, John Valby, Rob Lederman, February 28th. Outlaw State of Mind, Chris Stapleton tribute, March 6th. Sticky Sweet, a tribute to Def Leppard, March 27th. Just Like Pink, March 28th. Strangelove, April 4th. The McCartney Experience, April 11th. Simply the Best, a tribute to Tina Turner, April 17th. Las Vegas Memories and Melodies of John Wayne, Las Vegas Melodies, Wayne. I think it's Wayne Newton. April 25th. Love Sexy, a tribute to the music of Prince, May 8th. Television. Malik says her shrinking role is more like herself. I love the Apple TV Plus series Shrinking. How much do I love Shrinking? I previewed 11 episodes of the movie and entertainment third season, which started streaming the first 2 episodes Wednesday, before a new episode arrives weekly, twice. Once with a critical eye, once for pure enjoyment. Let me count the ways I love the program, which has been nominated for multiple Emmys, including as Best Comedy, without winning one. There is the sympathetic and awkward lead character, unorthodox therapist Jimmy Laird, played by Jason Segel. He's a puppy dog who continues to deal with the death of his wife in a car accident caused by a drunk driver. There is Jimmy, teenage daughter Alice, played by Lokita Maxwell, who's dealing with her mother's death, her father's neediness, and growing up. There is the sarcasm of one of Jimmy's colleagues, Gabby, played by Jessica Williams, who was his wife's best friend. There's the joy of watching movie legend Harrison Ford play a curmudgeon, Paul Rhodes. Paul is a therapist who is a father figure to Jimmy and Alice, who hides his big heart with his sarcasm. There's the sweetness of Sean, played by Luke Tenney, an Army veteran who was introduced as a patient dealing with anger issues and PTSD, and has essentially become a member of the family of friends. There's the outrageousness of busybody Liz, played by Krista Miller, Jimmy's domineering next-door neighbor. There's the self-depreciating awareness of Brian, played by Michael Urie, the colorful attorney who's adopting a baby with his husband, Charlie, played by Devin Kawoka. And as a bonus, there's a local angle. Wendy Malick, the Williamsville native whose last fall was honored by the Buffalo Broadcasters Association in a category for Western New Yorkers who have accomplished things in broadcasting nationally, is one of the co-stars. There's a picture of Wendy Malick, plays Julie Barnum on Shrinking. It's a juicy part for the ageless Malick, who has played several wives and ex-wives in a television career that includes roles in 150 television series and 50 films over several decades. She had notable TV roles in the groundbreaking HBO comedy Dream On, plus Just Shoot Me, Hot in Cleveland, Frasier, and Young Sheldon. This role is different. My TV characters have often been outsized, outrageous, and deeply flawed women, which is great fun to play, said Malick in a telephone interview. Julie Barnum is much closer to me, self-effacing, sassy, and a bit mischievous. It's a gift to play a mature woman who isn't neurotic and still has game, added Malick. Harrison and I play mature people who are independent, funny, and still sexy. Over time, they develop a trust that allows them to reveal their vulnerabilities. The third season deals with each character's vulnerabilities. After the first season dealt with grief, and the second season with forgiveness, this season deals with the need for each character to move forward in their lives. The characters are all close friends who can't tell each other things that they don't want to hear. Who can tell each other things they don't want to hear. Jimmy needs to be willing to open himself up to new relationships. Gabby needs to go for her dream job as a therapist. Alice needs to head off to college without worrying about her father. Sean needs to pursue a great business opportunity without worrying about his partner in a food truck business. And Liz needs to let go and allow her lazy son, as well as Brian and his husband, live their own lives. Paul, who's dealing with Parkinson's, needs to consider the next chapter in his life, retirement. The secret to the show's success is its ability to be both hilarious and poignant, said Malick. When these people go to a dark place, it evokes empathy. That's like life. The best comedy comes with tragedy and vice versa. She has enjoyed working with Ford, who's best known for playing Han Solo in the original Star Wars trilogy. He was lovely, a genuinely funny and generous guy, said Malick. I'm not surprised he grew up in Chicago. I've always found that people from the Great Lakes develop a wonderful sarcastic sense of humor, perhaps a coping mechanism for surviving the winters. He reminds me of guys I grew up with. He just happens to be a famous movie star. I so admire his courage in really putting back the layers and exposing Paul's vulnerability. No one is more vulnerable than Jimmy, thanks to the performance of Seagal. Luke Tenney described Jason as the best quarterback we could ever hope for, said Malick. I guess you could call him the Josh Allen of the team. Shrinking has added some new players of note. Michael J. Fox, who has Parkinson's, plays a character with the disease that attacks the central nervous system. Talk about courageous, said Malick. Jeff Daniels plays Jimmy's self-centered father, who's the polar opposite of Jimmy. Candice Bergen plays Liz's disapproving mother-in-law. Cobie Smulders, who starred with Seagal in the hit CBS comedy How I Met Your Mother, is back as a potential love interest for Jimmy. I won't reveal any spoilers other than to say the season ends with a couple of sweet scenes with what could easily be a series finale. But I sure hope not. I would love this show, which was originally intended by co-creators Bill Lawrence and Brett Goldstein, to run for 3 seasons, to be renewed for a 4th season. I have a strong feeling there will be another season, said Malik. There's just so much more to mine with these folks, but then I've been wrong before. Malik wasn't wrong. We talked last Friday. On Tuesday, the trade newspaper Variety reported that Shrinking was renewed for a 4th season. I love it. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the February 1st issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Books. Mystery readers will be seeing a lot of D.S. Cross by Eric Peterson. Tim Sullivan's screenwriting credits include the films A Handful of Dust, Where Angels Fear to Tread, Letters to Juliet. He's also directed TV, including episodes of Sherlock Holmes, his series of crime novels, which launched in the U.S. in the late 2025 with The Dentist, features D.S. George Cross, who's on the autistic spectrum. The series rolled out A Cyclist on January 13th. The Patient comes out Tuesday, February 3rd. The Politician on March 3rd. The Monk on April 7th. And The Teacher on May 5th. Please tell readers about your D.S. Cross mysteries, which are rolling out into U.S. bookstores in the coming months. Answer. My series of crime novels are centered around Detective Sergeant George Cross. George is on the autistic spectrum. He has autistic spectrum condition, which used to be known as Asperger's syndrome. This has many consequences for George. He can come across as brusque, rude even, when he doesn't mean to be, but it is what makes him a great detective. It doesn't give him a superpower where he can look at a murder scene and come up miraculously with an instant solution. It gives him the patience and a dogged determination to examine the normal, the routine, and the mundane, in the knowledge that this is where the answer in any case will often lie. His attention to detail and looking in places other detectives choose to ignore means he has the highest arrest to conviction rate in the force. Things other detectives dismiss as irrelevant to a case or trivial are what George is drawn to, and it is so often where he finds the answer to a case. Based in the city of Bristol, where I grew up, with the city of Bath nearby, the series also hopefully conjures up images of the beautiful southwest of England. As with many people on the autistic spectrum, George is obsessed with things being right or done in the correct way, be it punctuation, pronunciation, the accuracy of historical facts, or the way his tea is made. Loose leaf always, never a bag. Milk in the cup first. He is, for example, incapable of disobeying an order, although he often finds ingenious ways around this. For him, order is the order of the day. Without order, there can only be chaos. This need for things to be right neatly falls into line with his work. He needs the right thing to be done, the right person to be arrested and convicted, for justice to be done. Books. Sweet Reads. Titles that can bring a little kindness into your life by Chris Hewitt. For a respite from the onslaught of terrible news, may we suggest something with a little kindness and grace. The following list includes picture books, middle grade titles, and novels intended for adults. All provide doses of empathy and joy. All That She Carried by Taya Miles. A book about a mother's love that reverberates through centuries. Carried is Miles' attempt to trace the history of a cotton sack that was found at a flea market in 2007 and subsequently displayed in museums. Miles writes about realizing there are details we can never know, but also about an enslaved woman named Rose, who gave her young daughter Ashley the sack more than 150 years ago, filling it with treasured items to help her make her way in the world. 4 Letters of Love by Niall Williams. Irish writer Williams sometimes puts his characters through the ringer, but always leads with kindness. That's especially true in this character-rich book, where a breathtaking ending unites 2 people in a way that feels every bit as miraculous as love. House of Light by Mary Oliver. There's plenty of comfort to be found in Oliver's poems, including her most famous, The Summer Day, which is collected here. That's the one that ends with, "Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life," unquote. The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. It's not all sweetness and light in the semi-autobiographical tale of Esperanza. In this coming-of-age novel, she weathers some tough times. But what she learns from those tough times is that she wants to return to Mango Street so she can help her community thrive. The List of Things That Will Not Change by Rebecca Steed. Like many of us, the protagonist of Steed's witty novel for middle grade readers, but also everyone, is perplexed by huge changes in her world. Bea's parents are divorcing and her dad has moved on to a new relationship. Things is filled with empathy for all of Steed's characters, despite their conflicting needs, and that's best represented in the titular list that Bea compiles, led by the fact that she's fortunate to have 2 parents who adore her. The Number 1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. That's the title of the Scottish writer's series of 25 novels in the first book. There are variations in quality, but I've enjoyed all of the books about Precious Ramatoso, a Botswana woman whose agency, where she investigates domestic mysteries, not murders, is really devoted to convincing people to be nicer to each other. Orbital by Samantha Harvey. The title and setting may have led some to dismiss the 2024 Booker Prize winner as being about space travel, but it isn't. It's about how being astronauts on a space station reveals our tiny blue planet, and about how, forced to live in extremely close quarters, they create a supportive, respectful community. The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton Juster. I will never stop recommending this astonishing book about a bored boy named Milo who goes on surprising adventures to otherworldly places, only to realize, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, that the warmth and tenderness of home are not boring at all. It's also a book that insists we can use our imaginations to make things better. Saturday Morning at the Shop by Keenan Jones, illustrated by Ken Daly. Wisdom, joy, and love are the 3 words painted in bright colors on the final pages of this picture book. Plymouth writer Jones' debut depicts a neighborhood barber shop as more than a place to cut hair. It's a place where culture thrives and communities live. Where Wolves Don't Die by Anton Truer. There are shades of To Kill a Mockingbird in the Remedies State professor's novel about an Ojibwe boy who's strongly suspected of having committed a crime. While the adults in his life figure things out, he's sent away for an education in family native ways and compassion. Taste. Bored? Alone? Grab a drink with the new Le Social Club by Francesca Bond. Krista Glenny, a bubbly 55-year-old food editor who's sometimes referred to as the fairy godmother of Buffalo's restaurant industry, wants you to go to the bar like your forefathers, especially if you're lonely, especially if you're nervous, especially if you're young, especially on a winter weeknight when the bars could use your business. In the city of good neighbors, I meet more people who are too anxious to talk to strangers than not, Glenny said from a window table in the new Allentown cocktail bar, equal parts on a recent Thursday evening. We've got to figure out how to get back in line with who we are. It's almost like 3 generations of people forgot how to ride a bicycle, and we have to get everybody to ride a bicycle again. This month, Glenny started a highly casual, informal club, the Social Club, to address an issue that has threatened both the restaurant industry and the larger social fabric, people going out to drink less. It's not about the alcohol. Bars, especially the ones in the Social Club, have adapted their non-alcoholic offerings to the public's healthier habits. Glenny is more concerned about the social and financial implications of people spending less time at bars and more time at home. What will happen to the bars if they don't have customers? What is happening to our society if we're not talking to each other? Through the end of March, the Social Club meets at Marble Plus Rye on Monday evenings, extra pizza on Tuesday evenings, Mint Mojito Bar on Wednesday evenings, and equal parts on Thursday evenings. There's no cover charge, sign-up form, or club structure. It's sort of a rolling open hangout. Everybody has a membership, Glenny said. Some weeks will be themed. Glenny's only request is that you come alone. Maybe bring a book to keep you busy until you make a new friend. No need to be an alcoholic drinker. Each bar serves thoughtful mocktails. The goal is really just to get people feeling comfortable going to a bar by themselves. Because when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I thought nothing on a Sunday night of going to a bar by myself. It was how you met people, Glenny said. If you say that to somebody under a certain age, well, why don't you just go to the bar on Thursday by yourself and read a book? They look at you like you're insane. Glenny thought up the Social Club after seeing the success of Sit at the Bar September, a movement born out of a senior Brooklyn real estate agent's viral video extolling the concept of putting yourself out there, physically, alone, at the bar, to a demographic of scrolling, isolated youth reliant on dating apps. On Thursday, as thick snowflakes glistened in the halo of Allentown street lamps against a royal blue sky, customers trickled into equal parts. It was still early in the evening, and many of the bar's customers were not there for the Social Club, but at least one was. Ryan Schiffman, a curly-haired 27-year-old from Amherst, sat hunched over a book, Kafka's Letters to Milena, at a 6-person table with 5 empty seats. He saw the Social Club's post on Instagram and thought, as a self-described antisocial person, that he should take Kafka to the bar and see what happens. I kind of just came in with no expectations, Schiffman said. Best case scenario, I met a new friend, or whatever. Worst case scenario, I do what I was going to do anyway, but in a different atmosphere than sitting at home. Equal Parts owners Maritza Jeffers and her husband Ben hope the social club will bring new faces to their relatively new bar, which opened in October at 149 Elmwood Avenue. The industry is hurting, Maritza Jeffers said. I see this as a helping opportunity for us to be successful. Jeffers grew up in Oakland, California, working in her family's Mexican restaurants. In adulthood, she worked at California tiki bars until moving to Buffalo within the past couple of years with her husband to be closer to her mother-in-law. As equal parts, Jeffers makes her own cocktail syrups and infusions. She sources liquor with micro distilleries that she learned about while working with the American Distilling Institute's spirits competition. The Urgent Care cocktail, for example, has a coconut-infused bourbon that Jeffers makes by toasting coconut flakes and mixing them with a bourbon over a couple of hours in a sous vide bag. The Nightmare on Elmwood is a lighter, slightly Buffalo-themed take on a Bloody Mary with vodka, tomato water, Frank's hot sauce, passion fruit, and lemon. Many of the cocktails are tropical, reflecting Jeffries' Mexican heritage. For food, the Jeffries enlisted local chef Jasmine King, who trained at Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Orlando, Florida. The menu pulls from various cuisines, from an Indian butter chicken panini to a California French dip sandwich, Italian pasta chips with whipped ricotta feta dip, and a Mexican pork tacos. The shrimp toasty with a savory Old Bay cream sauce was a cross between eggs Florentine and a shrimp sub. On Thursday, Glennie and Jeffrey sat at the bar discussing one of the social club's upcoming themes, MO through the decades, February 23rd through the 26th, Eyeliner encouraged. Connecting with other people is the most validating experience I think people can almost have, Glennie said. It's not just that I'm an old lady who wants things to be how they used to be. It's that I have children in their 20s and I have lots of friends in their 20s and 30s, and I see people who are lonely and anxious, and I want to be like, hey, come drink a dirty martini, let's hang out. Restaurant news. Shake Shack is planning its third and a fourth locations, one for a former Spot Coffee on Clarence and one in the redeveloped former Kenmore Presbyterian Church in Kenmore. Food events. The Buffalo Wine and Chocolate Festival returns from 1 to 4 and 5 to 8 February 7th at the Statler on Delaware. At least 20 wineries and distilleries and 30 other vendors selling everything from chocolate and cheese to spices and crafts will participate in the festival. Tickets are $35 and include unlimited wine and distillery samples, chocolate, and a commemorative wine glass. The Dinner Detective and Buffalo Toronto Public Media are teaming up for a murder mystery dinner from 6 to 9, February 7th, Lower Terrace. Tickets are $80 and include dinner and an interactive murder mystery experience in which guests participate in the guesswork of solving the crime. Brian Story spices up Next Level Chef. Darian Bryan managed to pull off something harder than getting a Michelin star. The Buffalo chef got me to watch an entire episode of a cooking show, quote, Next Level Chef, unquote. As my 3 children can attest, I am not a foodie. I'm a big fan of the Emmy-winning FX series The Bear, which is set in the restaurant world and illustrates how difficult it is to run a fine dining establishment. But reality shows of any sort aren't my cup of tea. I've ignored all reality cooking shows in my time as a TV critic. As my wife can attest, I believe that her decision to watch a cooking show is a clue for me to find a sporting event to watch in a different room. Which brings me to Next Level Chef, one of the Fox reality shows headlined by celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay, with assists from Nisha Arlington and Richard Blas. Brian is one of 8 professional chefs vying for 5 spots in the 5th season opener of the program that premieres at 8 p.m. Thursday on WUTV Channel 29. Thursday's episode is one of the 3 audition episodes. The next 2 episodes features 8 social media chefs and 8 home chefs, respectively, vying for 5 spots to give the show 15 finalists overall. The eventual winner earns $250,000 and a year-long mentorship. Like all reality programs, each of the professional chefs has a story to tell about how they became chefs. Brian's story, as well as his wardrobe of an orange shirt and pink pants, is as colorful as any of the contestants. As many Western New Yorkers know, the Jamaican immigrant is the owner of Bratz Hill in Larkinville, which made news food reporter Francesca Bond's recent list of the 40 top Buffalo restaurants. Some of Brian's specialties include jerk chicken, oxtail ragu, Chilean sea bass, and goat ravioli. As Brian's story is told, his wife Jessica, his sister, his mother, and his children are shown at the restaurant named for where he grew up in Jamaica. They all work there in what Brian describes as a restaurant with family flavor. Brian also explains that he has been a private chef for some Buffalo Bills, as pictures with him alongside former Bills linebacker Von Miller and safety Jordan Poyer are shown without the players being identified. There isn't time to give all the details of how he has succeeded in making a name for himself in Buffalo. Brian studied for 2 years at Erie Community College Culinary Arts program, began his local cooking career at Denny's before becoming a sous chef at Hutch's, one of the favorite restaurants of Bills players. The competition among the 8 chefs is as chaotic, anxiety-ridden as any Bills game. They battle for scraps and bites, cod heads, pig ears, salmon, steak, and chicken to prepare dishes with the goal of impressing the 3 judges in 3 levels of kitchens starting in the basement. At one point, a hockey game breaks out. 2 contestants collide, battling for the ingredients. They have to finish their exotic dishes in about the same time as I make spaghetti and meatballs, 20 to 25 minutes before being judged. Viewers, of course, can't taste the results, which means they rely on the judges' comments to determine what satisfies the palate. I can't give away any spoilers other than to say Brian's personality spices things up, and at one point the pressure on him is sought to a high level by Blas. Brian doesn't lack for confidence. He is a quote machine as exemplified by these 3 comments. Quote, "I sleep less and work more. I represent Jamaica to the fullest. I look good, I smell good, and I cook good," says Brian. Come on, man. It's certainly good for Brian to get a national spotlight, no matter how long he remains in the competition. Update and spoiler alert, Brian advanced and will return in an episode after all the audience episodes conclude. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the February 1st issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another